Today we are channeling our inner preschooler with some Incy Wincy Spider with a bit of a twist. So if you remember back to your kindy days, you might have played or sung Incy Wincy Spider and you would have used your index finger and your thumb as part of those actions. We're going to do the same thing, but then we're going to add on. So we're going to go thumb to middle finger. So now you'll see my thumb is working on both of my middle fingers. And then thumb to ring finger. And thumb to pinky. Then you can work back. Give it a go. As promised, in this week's video we're going to look at speed loops. So lots of people have been pretty successful when I've seen the work that you've been doing in your books, and you've got at least half a page. Don't be lazy though, don't get to half a page and then stop. Make sure that you're doing your best handwriting for the whole passage that is given, especially in one like today where it is some extra learning for your writing as well. For those people who are printing, remember that you can always do all of these exercises leaving out the joins, concentrating on using your best printing. That's fine too. Last week we looked at the letter F and we looked at how we could speed loop in to that letter F so that you didn't have to lift up your pen from the page. This week we're going to look at other tail letters and how you can speed loop out of a letter. So the letter F, it's a bit special. You can loop in and out. There's my loop in. If I change that word into the word often, you can see there that I've done my double loop. So that's the way that one would work. But today we're going to concentrate on some simpler exit loops for G, J, and Y. Q is a little bit different again, and P, as we know, doesn't join because it rotates clockwise and heads off in that direction. So let's have a look at our letter G as our first example. We're going to start in the middle of our two blue lines. We go around, come back up to the start. Our letter goes down into its tail, and then as it loops, it just continues back up. Now, I actually find it really hard to do when I'm going slowly. It's much easier to do your speed loop in a speedy way. And you'll see the difference there between quite a wide and a narrow loop. You do want to keep them quite narrow. If I do that letter G again. And the tail of the G is exactly the same for the J and the Y. It just has a different entry. There's my J. And there's my Y. So it's time to set up your page. Make sure you've got your heading speed loops and today's date. So today for our practice, we're going to do one row of each of those letters. We're going to start with the letter G. Using your slope card, there's plenty of spares in the classroom drawers if you need them. I'm going to follow that line down, speed loop up. Here you'll need to add in a drop-in join. So you'll see that I've lifted my pencil off the page. I'm going to start back over here as I wrap around and go again. Drop in, join, go again. Drop in, join, speed loop. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker now. And I want you to have a go yourself, completing a full line of the letter G. Once you've done your letter G's, we're going to continue on. You might need to leave a line just in case, like mine, your G's have come down quite low. But moving on to your letter Y's, exactly the same. And the same again, I end up with a bit of a drop-in join. So my tail is coming up to about there, but my next letter is going to start here. So to make sure it's nice and tidy, I lift my pen quickly, it skips over the page, then it goes back down. Finish your row of letter Y's. Lucky last is your letter J. Follow that slope card down. Now with your letter J, getting muddled as I talk, you might need to start again if you get muddled too. You don't need to worry about the dot. You'll come back to do that. Occasionally you'll need to lift your pen so that your hand can travel across your page. But otherwise, you'll keep going, aiming for a nice, narrow speed loop. As you get towards the end, don't worry about coming back to dot them. You can if you like, but might not be the best use of your time. Now remember to do some self-assessment as you go. Considering I'm on the screen with my stylus, I'm not too unhappy with how I've done these, particularly my G's. I think some of these over here, this section here, perhaps is looking quite nice. So I'll give that a tick. A few of them got a little bit sloppy where they're joining, or maybe the height, you can see here this one's a bit higher than where this one might be crossing over. This tail at the end here is probably a little bit too big, so I might give those a question mark. But otherwise, not too bad. The J's, however, down the bottom of my screen, not my best work. I can see some are long, some are short. So as a writer, I'd be aiming for a little bit more consistency with the size of my letters. Also, I've noticed as I've come back through and was reviewing my video that some of my Y's aren't the best, not with the speed loops, but with the letter formation at the top. So if you look at this one here in the middle, this shape here, that triangle wedge shape in there is quite wide, and it shouldn't be like that for the letter Y. The first one's much better. See, it's a much smaller shape in there, and as I've gone along and been concentrating on my speed loop, my Y's have got more and more of a gap between the body of the letter and the tail of the letter. So I do want to try, I'll just change colours there. You do want to try and keep that quite narrow. So let's have a look at the passage that you'll be having a go at today. There's quite a few opportunities for you to practice your speed loops. And there's some for each letter of the alphabet too. Suggest in there for a double G. There's an F if you wanted to give it a go. There's lots of letters with tails towards the end of the words. So you can feel free when you're doing these ones to add a speed loop in. It just won't join to anything. Remember that with the letter P, I'm going to choose a different colour to remind you. With the letter P, it's going in a clockwise direction, so it's not joining. Another good thing to remember while you're working on this passage is to take note of the punctuation, and maybe you'll pick up on some punctuation that you might not have been using so well in your writing. The inverted commas that they've used throughout this piece are showing that they're quoting, they're giving some examples rather than using them for direct speech. They've got comma use to help break up those sentences. Of course, they've got their capital letters and full stops, but they've also used a colon here to show that a list is coming. And you can see they are expecting you to give some more examples, and you might decide to do those with inverted commas like they have, or you could do them with some dot points. Up to you. So now's a good time to pause the video, have a go at that passage yourself using your very best handwriting, and make sure to do your self-assessment at the end. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so that you know when the latest videos come in, and also to go back and check that you've completed all of them. Have a great day.